Welcome back to Reb Yankele's podcast, Parshas Yisroi. I want to start this week with a nekuda, because even though it seems sometimes that chinuch is something that we leave today to the hands of the mechanchim, the teachers, the truth is that the real chinuch happens at home. The real chinuch happens the way we show our children, the way we behave, what we tell them, and what people tell their children and grandchildren all over the world. This week's Parsha, we know that Yisroi received the incredible schus because an entire Parsha was added to the Torah, the Parsha of Atosechze. The Parsha where Yisroi tells Moshe Rabbeinu, how could you possibly be the only one answering Klal Yisrael's questions? You will tire, they will tire. Take my advice and create Sarei Chamishim, Sarei Asaros, create many more Batei Dinim where Klal Yisrael could go and ask questions. And of course, if there's a question that no one knows the answer, they will come to you. And the question is so obvious. Why is it that the Parsha is called V'atosechze? When Yisroi starts talking to Moshe, it's 4 psukim earlier, when he starts telling him that he's not doing the right thing. And the answer, Reb Yankele tells us, is so pure, so clear. Because telling a person you're not doing good, that is not a chinuch, that is not a musar that will take them to the next level. Telling a person, V'atosechze, you will see that if you do so and so, things will be better. You will be more productive. That is something that is considered a new Parsha in the Torah that is mentioned l'schusoi of Yisroi. And that, of course, is something that is a lesson right before we go in to discuss what is happening before and at Matan Torah. Right before Matan Torah, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe that Klal Yisrael will be V'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim v'goy kodesh. Klal Yisrael is a different nation. Klal Yisrael is a different species, a different being. It is unimaginable how far we have fallen in today's world that many people have trouble considering this idea and understanding what it means. Lahavdil ben kodesh lechoil ben Yisroi la'amim. The fact that we are a completely different nation, as the Torah tells us. Famously, Sir Moshe Montefiore was asked once in the British Parliament, isn't it hard to be a Yid, a Shema Torah mitzvahs, who has to fulfill all the obligations and keep all the restrictions brought to us in the Torah Shebeksav and the Torah Shebal Peh? And Sir Moshe Montefiore in his wisdom said, of course it's hard, but how could I imagine being something else? The Kloisenberger Rebbe Zatzal, when he was in the ghetto, they asked him, are you still so excited with your Ato B'chartanu, with your being from the chosen nation? And the Kloisenberger Rebbe answered, what would you rather I be? One of these Nazis, Yamach Shemam? Of course, in any moment, in any given moment, a person is able to see the incredible beauty, the incredible honor that HaKadosh Baruch Hu bestowed upon Klal Yisrael to choose them as his chosen nation. Rav Shach, when the President Jimmy Carter came to Eretz Yisrael, Rav Shach asked somebody who was in the room and asked him, did you say Shelo Yasani Goy today? And he said, of course I said Shelo Yasani Goy. And Rav Shach asked him, who did you have in mind when you were saying Shelo Yasani Goy? And he said, I don't know, the Poles, the Russians. So Rav Shach said, no, I had in mind Jimmy Carter. I had in mind the most honorable person I could possibly think of in the world, the leader of the free world, as he would be called. Rav Shach understood that he had to deliver this message, bring home this message to each and every one of us, that we need to remember that before Matan Torah, before HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the incredible guide that should lead us through our life, that should lead us to Tikkun Olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu first chose us to be His Mamleches Kohanim, to be His Goy Kadosh before anything. And then, of course, we get to Matan Torah itself, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Emunah. The Sfas Emes tells us, before anything, one has to have Emunah in oneself. But of course, we have to understand, what does it mean, Emunah in oneself? Emunah in oneself is not that I believe that I'm physically strong or mentally strong or somehow built myself up, some imaginative self-confidence. Emunah in oneself is believing with a full 1,000,000% Emunah that I am a Ben Yisroi, I'm a Ben Yochid to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I was chosen, Hashem chose me to be in this world, to be Masak in this world, to be exactly where I am, and to do some type of tikkun that only I can do, as Chazal tell us, B'shvili nivra olam. In this moment where each and every one of us finds themselves, we need to understand and believe with the full emunah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us in this world to do something, to be someone. And when we have that emunah, we can go through Kol HaTorah Kula. We can be proud. We can go around and understand what it means. Lahavdil, ben kodesh lechoil. Understand that we are a different species. Understand that we are connected. Understand that we need to fulfill our obligations. We need to follow through on the restrictions, because we are His children. And when we have that emunah, we can have the entire Aseres HaDibros, we can have Kol HaTorah Kula, and we can go around proud, as Sir Moshe Montefiore said. Of course it could sometimes be hard, but how can I imagine being anything else? And that, of course, is something Reb Yankele tells us that Yisroi did not pick up on. The Mechilta tells us Yisroi had an argument with Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu told Yisroi, look at what we have here, stay here with us. And Yisroi said, no, you don't understand. If I go back to Midian, I will be the candle that will shine in a light into the neighborhood, into the country. I will show the light of Hashem to others. Moshe Rabbeinu was arguing, stay with us. And Yisroi said, you are like the Shemesh, you're like the sun. Aharon is like the Levana. With your fire, my candle is nothing. So I'm going back. But of course, he didn't understand the message of Moshe Rabbeinu. Of course, when one looks into oneself, one can sometimes seem to say, I'm only a candle, what can I already do? But that's not where we stop. That's not where we give up and go home. We listen to Moshe Misinai. Moshe Rabbeinu says, stick with it. Eventually you will turn into a shalheves, to a flame. Eventually you will be able to match up to the fire of Moshe, as the Rambam says. We don't give up saying, I'm just another candle. I will do my little part and I'll be Yoitzer and that's it. No, each and every one of us has the power to fulfill the Rambam that says that we can reach the level of Moshe, the level of giving up our shallow wants and temptations and be willing to do exactly and only Hashem's will, to become Avdei Hashem as originally intended, and to fulfill our tikkun and the tikkun ha'olam. And it all starts with believing in ourselves as Am Hashem, as Am Hanivchar. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful Shabbos. May we be zoiche to use the gift of Shabbos that Hashem has given us to show us that we are Am Hanivchar, to show us that we're chosen, and to use these precious moments to go higher and higher. Thank you and have a wonderful Shabbos.